Hello and welcome back to the Octave Leap channel, where we cover innovative ways to get the most out of your astrology, human design, and gene keys readings, along with my own system that synthesizes all three called Trifecta. Now today we're going to be covering an extremely powerful yet simple way of leveraging human design for a purposeful driven career, a life that feels very aligned, a life that keeps you healthy, and you might even bend some of the laws of physics along the way. No promises, but there's some basis to this. So this means you'll be engaged with more purposeful endeavors, relationships that feed you, staying healthy and vital, living in that real natural rhythm that so many of us long for, and also discovering more about the mystery of life through the path that you laid for yourself to walk, but maybe forgot a little bit about along the way. So, in this video, I'm going to show you the two themes, and these two themes are like two layers. They're both very important, but most human design readings only cover the first one. Today, I'm going to take you to layer 2 as well, which is a deeper layer. It's not more complicated. It's simply peeling back the matrix, peeling back the layers of reality to see what sits at a foundational level. So, the first theme reveals what you're here to do on a worldly level, and the second theme is what you're meant to do on a cosmic level or a soul level. So when you explore these themes and integrate them, you end up really ending the internal resistance, the procrastination, the lack of clarity, the broken relationships, and always feeling like you're a work in progress, just barely scraping by in a state of scarcity. And so many people think they need to fix themselves or heal, but really what's happening here is these things are just symptoms of life showing you that you're heading in the wrong direction, and a simple course correction is necessary. But oftentimes, we don't know what that course correction looks like because we're operating with so much programming from our upbringing, from society, even from spiritual influences. So it's very important to get back to self-knowledge. Themes that I'm going to show you in this approach will show you how you're meant to operate. So they'll give you that self-knowledge. And by looking at our sun placement, we're basically talking about 70% of our vital life force energy. And why is 70% is because they've identified that the neutrino stream, subatomic particles that hit us with information about this foundational blueprint level, 70% of the neutrinos come from our sun. 30% come from places outside the solar system. So if we understand our sun, we've got the majority of what we need to know. That's not to say the other placements aren't important, but this is going to give you the most mileage by understanding this. And if we go deep with this one placement, you're going to get so much great information that it might inspire you. So this is totally great for beginners, people that are new, that don't want to be overwhelmed by the complexity of human design, and just really want to get great information. I can share this with you in less than half an hour. And also at the end too, I'm going to show you a step-by-step process of actually getting this tailor-made for you in a very easy way to understand. So do stay tuned for the end of this video. Because if you harness these themes correctly, you'll find that things just click, life works easier, synchronicities happen more often to you, you'll enjoy what you do more, and if you're in a career, this isn't necessarily for everyone in a career, but if you are, work will stop being something you dread, and it will actually be something that makes you healthy, that revitalizes you. So it'll become something that you really take delight in, and as a result, it will attract more and more positive things in your direction. So it will give you, the right people will come into your life, whether that be new clients or favorable responses from coworkers, bosses, and loved ones. And if you do not align with these two themes that I'm about to share today, then you're basically working against your essential life force energy. So no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you think something is good for you or is a good idea, or how much money you throw at something, it just won't work. You'll have to experiment more and suffer from learning painful life lessons. Now, I don't want that for you. I don't want painful life lessons. I don't want bumping around in the dark, feeling like you're experimenting. So if I found something that works, I am going to share it with you. And the great thing about this is you don't need to be an expert. You just need to basically follow these steps and you can figure it out for yourself. So it's great. So anyway, I'm about to share with you this amazing information. So do watch the whole video and stay tuned for the end, because I actually have a very great offer for you to actually dive in and understand this at a in a more simple way, because sometimes human design can be a bit cryptic, and I've actually made this just a lot easier for everybody. So stay tuned to the end, but first, like this video, subscribe to the channel, because we're gonna dive in with some serious esoteric wisdom. Okay, so almost everyone I know knows what their zodiac sign is, whether that be Capricorn, Aquarius, Leo, etc. This goes by many names: star sign, zodiac sign, but it's actually based on where the sun is when you're born. So I'm going to call it a sun sign, which is the most accurate name for it. And the sun is by far one of, if not the most important placements for your identity and how your vital life force energy works. That's, like I said before, that's because 70% of the neutrino stream, or the subatomic particles that imprint our essence onto our physical body, it comes from the sun. It's the closest star compared to all the other constellations, so it comes from the sun and it imprints us. And if you really understand that exact placement of the sun at your time of birth, you'll understand your life purpose, how your energy is meant to work in the world. And this will help you so much for orienting yourself through the multidimensional labyrinth of life. So think of this as the long lost user manual for all the incredibleness that you are. And this placement reveals how your vital life force energy is meant to work. Now, if you don't know this, and people can figure this out intuitively, you can spend years meditating or on various spiritual paths to get there, but I just want to show it to you very quickly and easily because it's not rocket science. If you don't know how your energy works, though, life's going to be a frustrating endeavor, period, right? If you're working against your natural sense of delight, your natural sense of enthusiasm and optimism, and it's different for everyone. There's no blanket statement that, we hear this in spirituality. They say, just do this and you'll be happy. No, that's not true. Everybody has their own individual relationship with what fulfills them. So if you don't align with what fulfills you as an individual, no matter what ideas and beliefs you have about yourself, they're going to fall flat on their face no matter how hard you push. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story of what happened to me. So when I was young in my career, I believed that I should go all in on my work. I'd studied for years to become an environmental consultant, and I was pretty bought into this because, upbringing, parents, etc. And I don't like to half-ass things, so I just gone through 5 years of engineering school and felt like a natural continuation of my studies was going to be getting a job in that field. My entire life energy was going to be dedicated to my career because that's the kind of person I am. But I couldn't actually focus on my job. I'd show up for work in the morning. I'd be exhausted day in, day out. I needed three or four cups of coffee just to keep me propped up. And I'd get there and I'd be stressed out because I couldn't actually focus on, what I'm supposed to be doing. And it was fairly technical and important stuff that I was doing. I'd almost fall asleep in meetings, in fact, and I'd have a pen or pencil and I'd have to poke myself in the leg just to stay awake. It was horrible. So I had to really work hard to look like I was attentive. And when the afternoon rolled around each day, the clock seemed to tick backwards, especially the closer that I got to quitting time. So naturally, by the time I got home, I had very little energy and very little inspiration to do anything. It just really felt like I was on a hamster wheel for 12 years of my life. And I actually, as a result of this, I developed a number of challenging health issues. I had really bad asthma, I had a chronic autoimmune disease, severe back pain. I was just really out of shape. But I was convinced that I had no other choice but to show up fully committed to my job. This was societal programming and parental programming at its finest. Like I said, this was 12 years of this. Now, there was good times within there, but compared to how I'm doing now when I actually found my own alignment and balance, it's like night and day. So I quit my job within 4 days of making a very shocking discovery about myself, which I'm going to share below because it's related to what I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to show you how to make this discovery for yourself, and then I'm going to reveal what I learned. And at this time, this whole time up to this point of discovering this information, I was muscling through, drinking tons of coffee and feeling exhausted because I was working against my life force. My life force wanted to make a living from something else entirely, something that had nothing to do with helping big industrial companies get their environmental permitting. And so this one discovery literally turned my world around, and within 4 or 5 days, I started putting things in motion that radically changed the direction of my life. It gave me the clarity and inspiration and courage to take that big, scary leap into the unknown that at a deep level I know was needed. And guess what? Everything worked out in the end. Life didn't leave me starving at the side of the road, despite the fact that I had zero professional experience in what I was going to be doing and going to be participating in to continue earning an income. So even though I didn't have formal training, I managed to pick things up very quickly when I started studying this new career path. All the lack and focus of direction that I felt during my environmental consulting career shifted 180 degrees. I became euphorically laser focused on my new studies, and I realized, wow, when I'm doing something I really like that's in my zone of genius, I'm good very fast. And that's true of anyone working in their zone of genius. You're going to be a master at it. You've probably spent lifetimes perfecting this. And plus you have all the energy of the cosmos supporting you. So basically, when I started this new business in 2017, I gained 10 clients within a month. I didn't have a clue about how to run this coaching business, but I had a lot of fun and I seemed to find clients no problem. I later realized that this was because I was aligned with my life force energy. And as a result of that, people were drawn to my enthusiasm and the work that I was sharing. So this is more evidence to support working with your life force. Okay, so now I'm giving you a little bit of background on this layer 1 theme that we're talking about first. Now, if you just look to your horoscope for this information, you'll generally find that some aspects of your sun sign feel right, but in a very vague way. There's 2 problems here that keep the understanding from going much deeper. The first one is, in astrology, there's only 12 categories for your sun sign that are based on the 12 signs of the zodiac. So therefore, if there's 9 billion people in the world, you share a sun sign with, divide 9 billion by 12, which is 750 million other people. That doesn't exactly make you feel unique or special or like an individual if you're in a category with 750 million other people, does it? So it gives you some information, it gives you a general direction, but probably not enough to really trust in it and to follow it and to find that practical everyday alignment. So the other thing, this is number 2, and we're going to cover this later in this video, and I've dove into the background on this in other videos on the channel, but that is that the tropical zodiac system that Western astrology and human design uses describes the personality layer or the surface layer. But there's a deeper layer, a cosmic layer or a soul layer that you can gain information from when you use the true sidereal zodiac. I've made other videos that discuss this and I'll link them below. But in short, we need another lens to get the really juicy details, the reality bending ones, the ones that are going to make the biggest shifts. Now, you need to do this step first, what I'm describing here. So this isn't necessarily a problem. This just shows you that there is a second step to this. So the first thing, it is a problem because it's, too vague. But the second one is a first step. And it's only a problem if you do not go any further than this, which I'll share with you again later. So the solution to the vagueness offered by astrology comes in the form of human design. Like I said before, astrology has 12 subdivisions based on the 12 universal archetypes of the zodiac. Human design, though, has 64 subdivisions based on the 64 codons of DNA, and these are called gates. Not only that, but each gate can further be subdivided into 6 lines to get even more microscopic detail. And you're like, what are these gates and lines? Well, they come from the I Ching. And the I Ching is like an esoteric system that actually kind of freaky because they didn't have microscopes, they didn't have biology in the same way we do now back in ancient China, but the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching kind of map the spiritual nature of each of the codons of our DNA. And not only that, but each of these hexagrams, they basically are made up of 6 lines, and each line can either have a yin or a yang expression. So if we take 6 lines with 2 possibilities, we go 2 possibilities to the power of 6 lines gives us 64 possible hexagram configurations. 6 lines, 64 hexagrams. So when you multiply all that together, you end up getting 384 possible interpretations. As a result of this, you basically have a unique interpretation for every 0.9 degrees of sky space in human design. In astrology, you have a unique interpretation for every 30 degrees. 30 degrees is big, 0.9 degrees is small and precise. So that's a lot more specific than astrology, right? Gotta admit, yeah. Not only that, but human design takes the sun placement at birth, then it calculates the earth placement, which is beneath our feet. So it's 180 degrees opposite the sun, and we call that the earth placement. Then it takes the sun from 88 degrees before when we're born. So this is called our design date. It's related to the start of the third trimester when we're in our mother's womb. And it's said that that's where the soul enters the body. So that's called the design sun, 88 degrees before our normal sun. And then the design earth is 180 degrees off of that. So we end up getting 4 points. And if you lay these out, in human design, they lay them out sort of graphically on what's called a rave mandala. You'll see that they form an almost perfect cross. So this configuration that you get just from the sun at your time of birth gives us 4 points of information that we call the incarnation cross. So there's 384 possible interpretations for a sun sign, and there's 192 possible incarnation crosses. All this is done for you, by the way, with calculations. So you don't have to worry about all these big numbers. What I'm just saying here is that you get very specific, high resolution information when you go to human design. And an incarnation cross is just another layer of the puzzle that is based solely on our sun placement at birth. So when you take this approach, you're going to get much more specific information. And when you incorporate the incarnation cross into the picture, you get such an amazing added layer of detail and description. Now I'm going to walk through you. I told you the background story. I'm going to walk through a worked example using my own chart. I'm going to do the interpretation so you can follow along. And so the first step here, if you want to get a free chart for yourself, go to www.geneticmatrix.com and follow along with your own chart as if you like to. So basically, when you go there and you plug in your birth details, you'll see a chart much like the one shown here. Now this chart goes very deep. You can see it looks like a nuclear reactor engine or a jet engine if you're not familiar with human design, but we're only interested in one thing, two things actually, the sun sign and your incarnation cross. So the first thing I want to look at is I want to look at the number, and so mine says 61.1. So it's gate 61, line 1. That's what it refers to. And the other thing I want to see is this flowing in a completed circuit or is it in a hanging gate? So you'll see here it's in a hanging gate, which means that there's one half of the channel colored in, the other half is not. Fortunately, I have another example later in the video, and you'll see what happens when there's a channel colored in. But this is important to know, because if it's a hanging gate like mine is, it means that this channel is open. If it's defined and the other side's colored in, it means the channel is naturally completed and energy flow is making it a more reliable trait for us. So what happens if it's a hanging gate like mine? Well, I'll always be reaching for the opposing end, which is gate 24. So that means that energy wants to flow, so it needs to flow along a completed circuit. So what does this mean? My primary life force is defined by gate 61 and line 1, and it's reaching towards gate 24. So gate 61, line 1, pertains to inner knowing and occult knowledge. My life's work will be about diving deeply into occult knowledge and studying it to make the unknowable knowable. Therefore, I can see why I was attracted to esoteric systems like astrology, human design, and gene keys, and why I went deep into them. And the deeper I go, I will more naturally attract clients and people that want to listen. I also understand why I didn't enjoy my career as a corporate environmental consultant now, because it had nothing to do with making the unknowable knowable. It's all about regulation. In fact, the parts that I did like about the job were figuring out special problems and figuring out the things that seem to stump other people. That's what I really did best, and when I actually could show up and felt enthusiastic about the job was when I was actually figuring out new things that hadn't been figured out before. But unfortunately, that was kind of few and far between. So in this case, this is important for the interpretation now because it's a hanging gate. I need to look at the 24. So now I understand what my sun energy is, but I also need to understand what completes it. So the 24 refers to rationalization. It involves taking life experiences and formulating them into a coherent worldview. So the shadow of this 24 is addiction. And this may manifest as physical addictions, but it's also mental addictions of wanting to know more and more and more. And one of the things that I did was I could become very book smart and kind of piece together a whole concept in my head that had no semblance to reality. So in order to overcome this shadow, I needed to look at the gift frequency of this. And the gift frequency is about leaning back into the gaps. It's called invention, between sensation and thoughts to find the emptiness. Meditation, not doing. It's actually a very potent way of just stepping away from everything, leaving it, doing nothing to actualize this coherent worldview. So the coherent worldview that I wanted to make the unknowable knowable, the way to bring that about was to actually like go for a walk or be contemplative or meditative, as opposed to read more, research more, stay up late figuring things out. So this gives me, again, very, very important information. So the incarnation cross for the right angle of Maya 4, which you can see over here, using my own language that I have from my own glossary that I prepared, which I'll tell you more about at the end of this video, is your energy is here to bring the unknown into knowing. This is knowledge that may be hidden or new to the mass collective. This information comes from an inner knowing and represents occulted truth that will cause the world to reevaluate their position to accommodate the new idea. This knowledge relates to universal truth in facts and details that can be used to resolve the questions surrounding life and death. So this is like, existential thought here, but it's also about revealing new things. So that's why I take a different angle with human design and astrology, and I don't just rehash what everybody else has done. Because for me, that feels very aligned and alive, and that's what actually gives me energy with this whole thing. So putting all of this together from this first layer of the interpretation is that I should dive into occult knowledge to make the unknowable knowable. And also, when I run up against roadblocks and resistance, I should rest and not do. And that's how I create the eureka moments. So it's research and then deep rest and contemplation. That feels so aligned up until the way that I operated 2 years ago. This is a precise reading, the one I just shared with you, but it only took me so far because we're only scratching the surface. There's a deeper layer at play here. And this deeper layer needed to come forth about 2 years ago. And so now we're going to dive into that, and you can see how to do it for yourself as well. So in the last 2 years, I had a massive shift when I started shifting from a purely tropical analysis into using the stars and planets and constellations as they actually appear in the sky. Now, the reason why I switched, I've covered this extensively in my other videos. You can go back, check out the last 2 or 3 videos that I posted on the channel if you want a deeper analysis here, but I'll summarize with a quote from one of my favorite astrology teachers. The tropical zodiac tells you about the personality. The sidereal zodiac shares the true nature of the soul. And basically, the sidereal filters out the precession of the equinoxes, or the 26,000 year wobble of the earth. And so in my research and experience, this wobble is something bigger. It's something that might lead to problems. It's the quantum computer that kind of controls the matrix. Whew, I said it. So tropical astrology and human design show you how to decondition from the matrix. True sidereal astrology and human design depict the true nature of the soul. This means that once you feel you are living your tropical chart already, or if the tropical chart doesn't quite resonate, I've explained that perhaps you should go deeper. You should peel back the layers and take this deeper step. Don't do this one first. I would highly recommend doing step 1 first and then doing this step, because you need the worldly and the cosmic. You can't get away with just doing one. If the worldly doesn't fit, or you feel you've outgrown it, or it's old information, check out this one. This is going to really rock your world. So in my last video, I explained in detail how the tropical zodiac is like the first leg of a great journey, And the true sidereal zodiac is like the final leg after an initial layover. So you can't get from the layover spot to the end of the journey without having gotten on the plane from your initial place of origin. So this interpretation is for those who want to go deeper than just their role in the Maya. I said that the tropical system teaches you how to decondition so you can be happy interfacing with Maya. The true sidereal system allows you to basically step out of the game, the illusion altogether. It gives you a cosmic alignment without any matrix-related overlays. So when I did the same interpretation of my sun placement last year using the true sidereal zodiac, I was able to fully step into a dream of running a retreat center on Vancouver Island, Canada. So I held this dream in my heart since I was 21 years old, and I had no clue how this big dream was going to play out. None at all. It seemed like a pipe dream. You know, I'm like, how do I go from the corporate world into a magical world, living in the rainforest, surrounded by amazing nature and running a beautiful retreat center? But it all came together very recently in an unexpected and simple way. I didn't have to worry about the how when I just started living according to my deeper true sidereal sun placement. So that magic dream that's held in your heart that you've probably told yourself a long time ago isn't possible, it is possible. And getting there can be handled by really aligning with this deeper placement. Okay, so I still recommend that you do the first one first. It'll only take you 5 or 10 minutes, and then go ahead and do this one. Because when I discovered this, I felt like reality had bent itself and I'd broken a couple laws of physics along the way. It just didn't make sense how such an incredible manifestation was possible. All that I had to do was act in accordance with this deeper layer of my sun placement. So the second layer of the interpretation will take things a lot deeper. You'll be able to align with your cosmic design, which is bound by far fewer laws than the tropical or earthly design. Now, there's not too many ways you can actually calculate the true sidereal, whether that be for astrology or human design. But I can recommend, if you're looking for an astrology interpretation, go to www.masteringthezodiac.com. And if you're looking for human design, www.cosmichumandesign.com. Richard Mason did an amazing job of translating the true sidereal system into human design. And without that, I wouldn't have the information that I have, and I wouldn't be sharing this with you right now. And maybe I wouldn't be, realizing this big dream I had. Who knows? So given that we're just interested in the details on our sun sign, I'm going to head over to Cosmic Human Design, and I'm going to show you how to repeat the same process that I did earlier for my tropical chart, but with my true sidereal chart, and you can follow along and do the same. So I would not recommend using genetic matrix for this, for the simple reason, though, it is possible, but there's a couple other complexities there. You have to define your Ayanamsha, which is like a sidereal calculation, and it's just less accurate than the Cosmic Human Design website. Plus, you have to pay to use it, whereas on Cosmic Human Design, it's free. So go to Cosmic Human Design. It's more accurate. It's free. It's just not got as pretty of an interface. So once you go to the Cosmic Human Design website, click on Free Chart, enter your information. Now, there's one thing here you need to do. You need to click on the UTC converter in order to enter your time in UTC. So make sure you account for any changes to the date if you're converting your birth time, and that causes the UTC version to cross midnight. Just make sure you update the date. But you need to enter this in UTC, not your local time. And once your information is entered, you'll get a chart much like the one shown on the screen. It's not super pretty, but it's very effective. So you can see now that my sun falls into gate 26, which is a defined channel with gate 44. This means I have a reliable circuit of energy across this channel. I'm not seeking externally to find gate 44 like I was with gate 24 in my tropical reading. So it's also a line 4, which means that I have a natural sense of artfulness in selling ideas I am passionate about. I can alter details of the past, this is for better or for worse, to tell a convincing story. People want a good story. So this is the way I interpret this placement, is that I use my ego healthfully and my artful side to sell in a way that has style. I use music, graphic design, and storytelling to creatively assist with selling, whether that's selling concepts or ideas, or it's actually, selling a service that brings me money. So I help businesses recently with their marketing in very captivating and unique ways. And this is the hidden showman within that you don't really get to see in my tropical reading. It also explains why I like doing a lot more than just making the unknowable knowable. I like sharing and even selling the things that I'm passionate about. I love that. I love, guys, get on the roof, tell everybody what's happening. And the 44 gives me the ability to see the potential of people and projects. In a shadow placement here, and this is what I had to watch out for, I could, and have been in the past, manipulative, using, a little bit too much exaggeration, selling ideas to have my own needs met. But when I work with this channel consciously, I can use it for greater empowerment of others and creating captivating stories through mixed media. So yes, there's a shadow element of this, which can be a total swindler. But for me, and where I want to align with this, is seeing the potential in others and artfully empowering them to bring that out. So you can see one side is manipulative, one side is really healthy and really attractive and really enthusiastic. And that's essentially, I don't have to be manipulative when I'm just enthusiastic and passionate about what I'm doing. So you'll notice how the incarnation cross has also changed here. It's now the right angle cross of rulership 4. From my own directory, that again I'll tell you more about at the end, I've written this. You have the energy to promote yourself as a leader. Your skills in spinning your image will sell your ability to lead. This is not a fact-based enterprise. Your ability to lead is based on the marketing energy that you possess. You're here to be a leader and sell yourself as a leader. Just make sure you have the goods to get it done. So I don't always have all the facts and information when I'm sharing things. I do my due diligence, my 61-1, make sure that I'm detailed, but I don't worry about finding every little fact, date, name, that type of thing. I just usually share things, and the transmission comes across simply because there's a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of passion behind it. I can't get too bogged down with details. It's just not my style. But in working with this helped me to heal my wounds around leadership and to actually be comfortable leading and marketing myself naturally, especially when it pertains to the benefit of other people. So stepping into this true sidereal sun placement, it gave me great courage, and it really helped me to come out of hiding that I was experiencing, and living in when I was just acting on my tropical sun placement. The tropical sun placement could be like a researcher that is cloistered from the world. And this is here, it's like, guys, I'm here to make the unknowable noble. It's awesome. So what does this all mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means, because there's these two simple sun placements allow me to realize a dream that I had in my heart since I was 21. A dream that defied the impossible and allowed me to feel like I'd bent the laws of physics to create a life that felt deeply fulfilling. And the best part is that I've helped other people with this. I've helped my clients with this. I just ran a 10-person trifecta cohort where we did this, and people had huge shifts in their lives, like beyond their wildest dreams. And you can do that too with this information in this video. So I'm going to share with you now the next steps for this, because this is where things get really good. And without this, you might not get the full benefit. So now I've shown you the process. Anyone can do this process, and you might be feeling pretty excited. Perhaps you're curious that you can do the same in your own way and start overcoming the inner and outer resistance to finding your way back to your own version of what I call the Garden of Eden. This is true. Your sun placement in Incarnation Cross will definitely give you this information. It's not the whole picture of everything in your life, but it's 70% of it. And if you really understand this placement, you'll get enough to be off to the races, essentially. However, if you turn to the typical human design interpretations, you might feel confused. They're often cryptic, they have a bit of a negative slant on them, and they're generally hard to understand. And that's why I've actually rewritten all the interpretations. This was a huge effort that I did, but I did it in plain English, and I've done it I've borrowed interpretations from the gene keys to bring the element of frequency into the mix, to reveal the shadow, the gift, and the transcended quality for each of these. So when you use the frequency overlay, things become more liberating and empowering, especially when they're written in plain English. Some of Ra's writings, especially for 26, like my son in the True Sidereal, if I read Ra's version of it, it's like, I'm an asshole. I'm not that person. I don't want to be anything related to his interpretation. So when I dug deeper and I understand that, none of these are good or bad, they're just different genetic expressions. So they have a light side and they have a shadow side. Sometimes I think his personality got overlain in his writing, which made some seem better than other ones. He's kind of a pessimistic guy in his writing, even though he was really funny and really personable when he was actually giving talks. So if you want to learn this at a deep level and you want to actually get these interpretations, then I put together a pay what you want workshop. It's happening next Tuesday and Wednesday, which is June 25th and 6th, 2024. There will be replays available, but you have until next Tuesday to sign up for that. Now, if you're catching this video before June 25th, go and sign up for the workshop now. You'll get a replay. It's pay what you want. There's no reason not to, because you're going to get the more detailed version of how to actually apply all of this. Because I'll walk you through everything you need to know to get the same results, but tailored specifically for you. You can ask questions with me, and you also get my amazing handbook, which is the Dave Rave I Ching. I just made that up, by the way. But it's my own interpretation that's much more useful because it incorporates the frequency layer and it's written in plain English, and it's not biased like some of Ra's writing. So you'll get this personal reference guide, and it's going to be so much more useful than the typical human design lingo that you get off of some of the websites or the web, when who knows who wrote it. You'll also get all the incarnation crosses and the specific gate and line interpretations tailored for you. So click the link in the description. You do not want to miss this workshop. And if you're watching after June 25th, I should hopefully have a static recording of the workshop for you that's available, but no guarantees here. I have quite a backlog of old workshops that I need to put up first. I will get to it at some point, but I can't guarantee when. So if you're watching this, go register for that workshop. Like I said, it's pay what you want. So money will not be an issue. And I do that because I want my time to be valued, and at the same time, I want to make it accessible for everybody. So this is the best way to do it. Like always, though, if you want something that's completely free, I have a free calculator to my own trifecta system, the synthesis of astrology, human design, and gene keys through the lens of the True Sidereal. And this one is Reveal and Heal the Imprint of Your Collective Wound for free. And you get a free 3-day process for shifting that imprint. So get rid of the heaviness, get rid of the conditioning that you took on from the collective, so that you can start really aligning powerfully to the sun placement. So that link is also in the description below. And I truly hope that you've enjoyed this video and gotten a ton of value from it. Be sure to subscribe to this channel because I post a ton of content that goes much deeper than typical human design and astrology, that is also relevant now in 2024 and beyond. So I feel like this information coming through me is meant for these times, because a lot of the human design system was written in the late 80s and then developed in the 90s. So have a wonderful day. Feel free to share this video with anyone you feel would receive value from it. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'd love to hear you in the comments below. I will definitely respond if you leave a comment. Take care.